we're dragging it out for them, and that's never a good thing. You want to try and help them as quick as possible.
Yeah, but you want to do it right though, at the same time. But yeah. You don't want to.
Well, yeah, I think the consensus the other night was we are not upset with that business. How do we make it work? But we're going to wait 30 days before we tell them what we're going to do.
Yeah, but actually, but here's the nice part is I'm in coordination right now. Whitney is also the owner of the building,
Yep.
and I've talked to him, and I'm not sure if they're on a huge crunch because he's doing a lot of going to houses and stuff, but it's something to consider though. I mean, and I did originally say C2, I gave him that option, but without really.
I just, and you may have misstated it the other night. It's just the way you said it.
No, because when I started reading, I thought maybe I misstated it to them. That I kind of thought that too, but.
Well, I was sitting in a chair right there, and I was thinking that, but I didn't have a positive answer, so I thought, well, might consider that one way or the other. I mean, if it doesn't say there, you can't do
I
it.
could very easily see the plan commission agreeing to it and just giving them the warning that, you know, it doesn't change your setback requirements or anything. You can't add on, you can't do anything, you can't
Yeah,
put as
you
much
put
of an
stipulations
awning on
under
it.
it
So.
that anything forward now with the C2 that you can't do.
The only problem with giving it a C2 zoning is it allows for rental and it opens up more possibility. Because of the edit that we have. That's right. Not just, I'd rather see that under special use in C1 because it gives us some governance over it, but that was very suggested, maybe, but not up to me, so long. We are at 6:29, I'm gonna start the recording. Just to let everybody know. Don't wanna be that guy. Mr. President, it is now 6:30 actually.
All right, it is 6:30, so we'll call the Culver Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Mr. Secretary, have roll call.
Andrew Milshin.
Present.
Dan Osborne.
Present.
Gary McManaway.
Present.
John Christ is present. Also note that Kevin Dante is at the table as well.
Thanks, sir. What's that? You wanted it?
All right, everybody's had a chance to look at the minutes from
Well, that way I know how many people were.
February 19th, I'm sorry, we could take care of that. All right, everybody had a chance to look over the minutes, no changes immediate or corrections. I'll entertain a motion to approve February 19th, 2026 minutes.
A motion that we approve the February 19th, 2026 minutes.
I'll second.
Got a first and second. All approved, some say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries.
I'll take back up. Thanks, sir.
Okay, we've got a petition, case number 2026-B02, has been filed by Seth Captain of 1831 Farragut Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, to approve variance of standard of 3 feet 5 inches of the 10-foot required setback, side yard setback, which is on the south side for construction of a garage approximately measuring 10 feet by 21 feet. The address of the property is 908 South Plymouth Street, Culver, Indiana. And you say they're going to present it?
Jim, here to present. Seth is online, actually.
That's what you told me, right?
Yeah.
Hello.
Oop. See if I can get you on speaker. I'm sorry.
All right, no problem.
I think Kieran left that out. Let's try that again.
All right. Can everybody hear me okay?
Just lost it. Oh, jeez. There we go. Seth, are you there?
I'm here. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
Right.
Yeah, you've been able to hear everything up to this point, so just, we're on the case and present your case if you would.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody having taken a moment to consider this. So we're looking to have a place to put a vehicle, and currently the way the property was built, there's room to make a driveway. It's kind of been left as grass. The issue that we've noticed since having the house is that the street is particularly narrow. It's probably one of the more narrow streets I've seen in Culver, and it's also right around a very tight corner. Just in the small time that we've had it, our contractors already had somebody hit his truck.
I'm on a meeting.
I'm sorry?
No, you're fine, Seth. Could you please mute? Go ahead, Seth, keep going. I apologize.
Okay, thanks a lot. So anyway, so we're looking to put a driveway, and of course we'd like somewhere secure and safe where we could store our bicycles or watercraft, a golf cart, and or a car. At the moment, there's no structure to store anything. The back of the house faces the lake. It's sort of the primary reason that we got the property. So the only real place to put any kind of parking or storage is actually right along the side of the house. You know, we have talked with our immediate neighbors right there, Charlie and Bridget, to make sure that they would be okay with it. We toured them around the house. They've seen the plans, and they didn't express any objection at all to what we were doing. And we're trying to also make the smallest garage possible. So in other words, the smallest recommended one-car garage that would hold one car is kind of the dimension that we're aiming for. And that's kind of the main thing. Jason Gibson, who's our contractor, should also be there tonight if you had any other technical questions that you wanted to ask.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Any members have any questions for this?
Yeah, we went through this some time ago with this property, and there was a shed, and you wanted to remove some a stone fence or something. And I drove by it, and I really got some concerns about how you're going to put a garage in there, considering the height, the slope of the land from the street up to where you want to put it. And I noticed that there was what you're currently building right now,
Yes.
There seemed to be an egress into the basement of the house on the south side there. And I was kind of wondering how the heck you're going to be able to put a garage in if you've got an egress there, if this garage is going to be attached.
Yeah, that's a good question, sir. So there's only a very small egress window that's about less than 2 by 2, and we did attach plans with our application, and so we're going to block in that egress window so that that will not be there anymore. So there will be no windows or there'll be no ventilation or no opening that will be between the garage and the house. On the plans itself, it does mark so you can see exactly how the garage does fit in that space, nice and neat. You are correct about your memory. When we originally applied for our permit, we did request to put a large storage shed in the backyard off to the corner, and that was going to be in the far back corner of the property, sitting on the actual property line, and that wasn't approved at the time. We didn't really think about parking and the need to have a place to put a car, but since we've owned the property, we've realized that having a secure covered storage / garage is the best option.
And to be clear, you're asking for a 3.5 foot variance, or well,
That's correct.
we got 6.5 from the 3.5. Yep.
Correct. Yeah.
There was a question about that. I just want to make sure.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so I have a few other questions.
Yeah, of course, sir.
since we heard or denied your request about the storage building, and I see construction has gone on
Yes.
now, and assuming that the construction plans were approved, now you're coming back to us to ask for us to give you consideration to something you've already started. And I've got some really strong concerns about that.
Sure. Can you, I understand what you're saying. Can you tell me what those concerns are? Because as I hope I mentioned clearly, but if I didn't, I apologize. When we started this project, projects in their course naturally can kind of change. And so when we first started this project, we did not really think about parking, or we just assumed the cars would be in the street. And we've since come to learn that is a very difficult place to park. We inadvertently, by parking the street, block our neighbors across the street from easily getting in and out. And so we need not just a driveway, but it'd be nice to have a secure place to put the car. And so this is the best place. When we first started the project, that just wasn't something we thought of. So that's the reason why we're coming back a second time.
Was your question that the garage is already under construction? Was that what you were saying?
No, there's no.
No.
Nothing has
I didn't
been
understand your
built
question.
that's not on the plans.
It's has to do with when he originally came to us and said he was going to remodel, and we said, we kind of denied the accessory structure, but I do recall him saying that he was going to build on the current footprint and was not going to expand upon that.
That's correct. We have not changed the footprint of the original house.
So, so that's how I would assume your building plans got approved.
They did.
But now you're coming to us and you've got a hardship that you're saying, which was, that situation was already there, and you knew that you couldn't do anything beyond the original footprint without getting a variance. So I kind of look at this as you're kind of sidestepping the requirements and coming back now and saying, oh, I need this because of parking problems, which that situation was there before.
Sure, I understand what you're saying, but I do want to make it clear that they're two completely different asks. So the first time that we came, we were adding a second story to the existing footprint, so we needed approval for that. And we also thought about putting a large shed. Where we originally drew it was closer to the property line, and it was not actually intended for parking when we did it. It just wasn't something that we thought about. Anytime you're doing a construction project or any kind of project, I think in life, our ideas and things change as we learn new information, and we all try to adjust and adapt to that. And so that's what happened in this project. I'd like to politely and respectfully disagree that I'm not trying to sidestep anything. I'm actually following the rules of the township, properly applying and coming back before this board to sort of show our case why I think this is necessary for the home. And also the main reason for a setback is really to continue to protect the neighbor's property who would be most affected, make sure they're not going to be obstructed in any way from light or noise. And so we made sure to approach and talk with these neighbors directly to our south, and they have given their approval that they had no problem. That's who's most affected by the side setback.
Would I be correct in saying that maybe you created your own hardship by doing this as far as going ahead for another variance? I mean, there's no hardship here that I can see other than the placement of where you're wanting the garage.
Correct. Well, on the property itself, there is no other location you could place any kind of parking except on the south side of the house. So I would say that it is a hardship that is part of the property. I believe that is why variances are in place. And so I'm respectfully asking for 3.5-foot allowance to that setback that is normally required, because I think most people would agree they would like a place to put their car if it exists. The space does exist. The neighbors do not have an objection, and they would still have a decent setback that would still be there.
I would like, if you guys would entertain, I do have a letter that might speak towards that.
I should have addressed you earlier.
No, not at all. It's just, this is the appropriate time maybe to read it. Comment from 921 South Plymouth, Ida and Paul Berry, regarding 908 South Plymouth. On-street parking is an issue on South Plymouth due to the minimal width and 90-degree turn. If one or more cars parked off-street at all times in the garage or on the driveway, then fine with the variance. If use is intended as a shed, however, and not taking the vehicles off the street, then I would have an issue and I would not suggest the variance.
There's no way for us to approve a variance under the stipulation that you have to park in your driveway.
I appreciate that. I'm reading for the public.
I understand.
Yes.
But that is a neighbor in the area. We're all familiar with Plymouth, but he echoed some of what was said.
Thank you for sharing that letter. That is one of the reasons that we're coming back a second time. You know, we were new to the property when we first applied for the first variance. Originally, we were looking for storage. We then realized, like that person just explained, as I said earlier, it's extremely tight street parking there. We do need the driveway, and we would like to use that garage. That's why the garage is being built for the size of a car and not a storage shed. A storage shed would be much smaller. So that is the reason we're coming back here.
Is there a reason that you couldn't locate this garage on the east side of what you're building?
Yeah, there's two main reasons. So the east side of the property would, I mean, it would be very cumbersome because you'd have to go all the way to the back of the property and then make a turn basically into your backyard. So that just seems like a lot of additional construction and a difficult sort of turning radius and so forth. And the second one is, I explained earlier, the back of the house does view the lake. So if we were to somehow put any kind of structure behind the house, it would negate any view of the lake that we have from the house. We did try to look for any other possible alternative, and this was the only one that fit.
I just gotta say, if it's okay to, on the parking situation, I'm there every day working, and, I'm thinking of the neighbors, backing out. I watch them and I talk to them, trying to make everybody happy, and everybody seems to be pretty happy there, but it's so hard.
I'm sorry, I'm going to stop for just a minute. Can I get your name?
State your name and address.
My name is Jason Gibson. I'm the contractor working on Seth Captain's house.
Just for the record.
And I'm there every day. Sorry, it's my first time.
No worries.
No worries.
I'm just here listening and just wanted to let you know where I'm at, I understand the situation with the parking. I had my truck get sideswiped while I was there, and I believe I'm sorry on his name there. I think I saw you drive by. I was inside the house.
Yeah,
and you
drove
backed
by.
up. But if you noticed, my truck was up on the curb there.
Yeah, it was pretty tight.
So what I've been doing is curbing it there to get up out of the way so I can let these bigger, like trash trucks on Monday. Terrible. It's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just the whole area is just tight, and I just
Right.
wanted to bring that up. And as far as the grade goes, getting in there, it's doable. To get to make all that work as far as that goes as a garage. So I just wanted to state that and let you guys know.
Thank you.
Got another question for you.
Yes, sir.
As I'm looking at your plans and I'm looking at the front of the house, what is the area behind the deck that is on the right side of the house? It appears that there's a section that juts out or something.
So
Maybe.
yeah. So those are his egress windows, and we just covered them up with plywood, just because of the weather we had and no guttering on the house, because there's no covers on top of the egress windows that are there. There's 2 egress windows on that side. You're talking the north side?
No, I'm talking the south side.
On the south side. And
Yeah,
then
I'm sorry.
can you explain again, sir, so I'm looking at the floor plan, so I'm looking
Yeah,
at.
maybe
Well,
I-
why don't you come up here and I can point it out to
I'm
you.
sorry.
This area right here.
This site, landing, these steps, is this a big background?
We're looking at the houses.
Here's the street,
Okay.
that's north.
Oh, okay, so that's where, the deck comes out and he steps down, to come out into his walkway area. There would be possibly a driveway there, it's just part of the deck that is gonna be stairs coming down right there, and that goes. Then that window is right there, and I believe that's talking about.
The window I was talking
Yeah,
about. the egress.
yeah, so this is like a landing area, so you come down the
I have to
stairs
see
off
the
the deck
house.
on the
I was gonna say,
inside.
if that's the case, I just cut this out.
Is it possible that you could put this garage here?
Not without changing the,
Is there board foundation in this
yeah,
area?
well, yeah, there's, water lines coming into the house right here. Everything comes in right down below there.
You see what I'm talking about?
Thanks.
This area right there.
Right. That's what I was looking at.
So,
Because I was thinking the same thing. That's where the underground water line, the main line comes in?
Yeah, the water line, come in through there, then we also have, yeah, it's just the water line, the main line comes in right through there, and what it is part of the deck. So, the deck is its own, you see the deck, is what it is there, and then he just wanted to be able to come down off the deck and walk out off that side, so you have like a landing, you come down, that area is only
where he wants to put.
like 5 foot
Right.
by 8 foot, if that. I don't even think it's 8 foot.
Okay,
So there is
so
an offset there, though,
Why-
right? Yeah, that's the offset.
is that,
There.
It's under roof actually, right there. That's under a roof of that.
I should also point out, sir, that it's not clear on the plans, but there's a large, fairly high retaining wall because of the slope of the land there. And so the area you're talking about is kind of in direct line with that retaining wall. So it would make any kind of driveway or entrance extremely difficult to be able to get into that space. Even if we were to build it, it would also block the front of the house. Where we're proposing to put it, there's already a curb cut that was put in there to make direct access from the street more accessible.
I did put the property up on it, if you guys want to look at it.
Dan, did you and Andrew have anything you wanted to discuss something?
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what the front part of the house, on this drawing, it's hard to determine
Right, I was gonna
what
say
exactly
that
this was. I didn't know if it was deck or covered.
Looks like
No, that's the original.
That's the
Yeah,
original.
Beacon hasn't captured the, yeah. So you have to imagine the remodeling on it, yeah.
So the footprint's the same, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I do
This
it.
is
Pull up the.
I have some photographs I can share if I'm able to share on here.
Definitely not that far away.
Yeah,
That would be the, right?
So the deck comes out off of the original footprint.
Seth, I think you can share if you wanted to share some photographs, put up.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can quickly pull up some recent photographs that might help ease the confusion I think that's happening.
So this is. Okay, that is a deck.
You're talking about the little square rectangle beside the driveway, right?
This is the roof line.
So the roof's under deck, so the deck is under the roof.
Under the roof, yeah.
Okay.
And that area is under roof too, as well.
You're talking about the area,
That little area there, as you come off the deck,
Yeah, before you get to the proposed
Yeah,
garage.
it's just part of the
Like your deck
whole
on
deck
the
system,
wall,
it comes
garage
down,
right there.
and you're still under roof there.
And I think that shows probably a portion
I don't know
of
how
it
that
right there.
looked.
Probably,
Like
I
a
don't
little
have that.
outline here that comes down.
Yeah,
In
I'd
front
have
of
to,
your picture of proposed, like we're coming through here.
yeah, so they'd be back over here.
Right.
Yeah, right there.
So
So
when
he
you're
would
coming in
basically,
here, you're talking here.
yeah, so he would come down the stairs and then walk over to, and this would be.
But that would be, you'd have to do 2 pitches, yeah, that would work.
So this would just be one pitch coming that way,
Right.
is what he showed there. If that makes sense.
But you could go to the page.
Trying to get this to share.
It's dangerous, on-street parking. Is that,
There's a share button up on top, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I see it. It wants to grab, I'm trying to figure out how to get it from my documents. Right now, it just wants to show my screen, which it's not on. I'm actively working on it here. I do have a couple of photos that show the construction. I just need a moment here.
It's a street, right? This is a street.
Very, you guys need to see it. Yeah.
Concern.
I guess my question is hazardous or tight on-street parking a hardship?
That when you bought it, so I don't know what you would call it.
I mean,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's a question.
I'm gonna-
Oh, right there, yeah, that would,
Can you,
Roof right there.
you can
This is
actually
a-
see it up on the screen.
I'm not able to share the screen for some reason, but I wanted to let you see the house. Hold on, it's blurring it.
I got it, right there, you go, right there.
How close, the house to the south of you,
Yes,
how close is the side of that house to the property line?
it's a good question. I
think it's all on the print, like,
And don't have it on the print.
want to
Right
say
here.
it's probably 5 to 7, maybe it's more than 5 feet, less than 10 feet.
So it's already close and we're gonna put something.
You're sitting about, just under about 5.5, I think.
yeah.
So we're only gonna be,
That's an estimate.
Yeah.
so you're talking a little over 8 feet, almost 9 feet between the two.
no. So this is written weird. They're asking for a 3 feet, 5 foot reduction of the setback. So the setback will
All
still be
right,
6
so-
feet,
so
7
the
inches.
application is backward, right?
So
Right,
it's
it
still
is.
6 feet, 7 inches from the property line.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm asking for a
5
change,
inch
it's actually
reduction.
asking for approve of
that's why I
variance of
clarified at
standard.
the beginning that
3.5.
it's 6.5 foot to the,
Right.
to the set.
So it's 6
setback.
feet.
So there'll be 12 feet in between now.
So it'll be 12
There'll
feet
be
between the houses.
12 feet in between the garage structure and, or 11.5 to 12 feet between.
Is that the overhang? The overhang is 6.7, or is it the wall?
There again, I'd have to look at the print.
Well, you should know that, you're building it, I mean,
Well, no, I don't have the print like in front of me, and I've only saw it once.
that's a big deal, because you know, depending on how big that overhang
Yeah,
is.
because that overhang is part of your
That counts.
setback.
Sure, I understand.
Are you,
Yeah.
sir, are you asking for an
There again, I don't
overhang
have the
for the
print.
garage?
Yes,
Yes,
The garage will have no overhang on the south wall. It'll just, they'll be, it'll be just basically, a few inches off of the wall.
There's gotta be room for a gutter, considering it's
Yeah.
the roof.
Is it gonna have a gutter on it? Because I mean, the gutter
Yeah,
counts as overhang.
Yeah.
So the
It looks
gutter
like
would
there's-
I'll
count.
plan for a
I
gutter.
mean, if you
That
look
would
at
help
the
with the
it
plan,
looks like it's more than a couple inches on the plan.
yeah,
Usually about a foot.
That's what I would say, for something like that. it
But
would
if you had to
be-
cut it
So
down,
it's really,
I don't know what he.
but I don't think that measurement is taken from that point, I think it's taken from the wall, I would guess.
That's correct. It is taken from the wall. If we, there are a lot of people who don't put gutters on their garage. If we put a gutter on there, it would add 4 inches. I can show again this.
Well, I would actually suggest that this petition for the variance be rewritten to where it would match, not going in as that, because the way it stands, he's gonna be more than what he's asking for.
Yeah, this was pulled off the application.
Yeah.
So I can't edit an application,
Okay,
so.
because I mean, if we prove it as written, he'll be able to expand out further. Under the approval as written.
Well, if I'm not, and help me understand this, the variance of standard is the variance that you're giving to the setback. So the variance of standard, as it reads, variance of standard of 3.5 foot of the 10-foot required side yard setback. So is he not asking the variance to be 3.5 here?
No, he's asking for it to be 6 feet 7. And he's asking for a 3.5 foot reduction, so instead of a 10-foot setback, he's asking for a 6 foot
But the
setback.
variance
3 foot 5
won't be a
inches, not
reduction, it would have to be what it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? You know, we can't go by, I mean, the way it states, I think it can be vaguely interpreted either way.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
in terms of the way it needs to be written.
Find the motion.
Huh?
Just clarify it in the motion.
Yes. That'd be good enough, yeah.
Yes, it doesn't need to be edited, absolutely not.
Okay.
But I would, yeah,
Yeah.
you're quite right. It does need to be clarified exactly
Right.
what we're granting and clear to everyone.
Yep. I'm not playing around with you, Andrew,
No, I just, for all the years, not many that I've been sitting on the board, it's always been written as
Right.
the distance you're asking for, not the reduction distance.
Right, and that was.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's some reason I brought that up.
It should be 6 foot 7. Variance of standard is 6 foot 7. A reduction of standard to 6 foot 7. But we can forgive that and correct it.
Thank you.
Yeah, outside of the difficulties parking on the street, it's not an odd-sized lot, so it's, we're not dealing with a natural hardship, from what I can see.
But I know in our finding of fact, if we're gonna be, as far as the neighboring, as far as helping the neighbor, making it easier and whatever on that, we're talking about a street that's already that way.
Right,
Street
and that's why I'm
actually
asking,
created
like,
hardship for
is
them as well.
having a narrow street that you have no control over, is that a hardship that you didn't create?
Right.
Sure, you bought the house, but.
Right. But the hardship is still on the ones that's still on the house on the other side as well.
Everybody would have a hardship then on the street, is what you're saying, if they want to say that.
Yeah.
But
Any more questions, Warren? Any more? Anything else? Does Mr. Captain have anything else he wants to add?
Anything else?
I'm sorry, sir?
Is there anything else that you'd like to add before?
The only thing would be, again, just to say that, I think there are things sometimes that you don't realize when you're undertaking a project. And so, it's my apologies that when we first came, this was not something we thought about, but, parking in a car has truly turned out, especially as we've learned through Jason, our contractor, to really be a hardship that we're going to have to deal with when we eventually, spend more time in that property. The rest of the homes on that block do have a space for a garage. This is the only property that does not. And when people have guests in their houses, the street as it is hard to get by. So I'd like to think what we're asking for is very reasonable, and we're willing to, if the garage has to be slightly adjusted in some way, that's something we'd be okay doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, myself, I think that getting the vehicle off the street, I think is a very important issue. Under our first question on their findings of fact is the approval of not be injurious to public health, safety, and so forth. So by moving that is a plus.
You start beating up, Kevin.
Yeah, sure do.
Is it normal spacing in that area to be closer to the property lines than 10 feet?
We're talking 12 feet
Yeah.
total between the two.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in the neighboring areas, like,
Well, if we define neighboring areas as kind of the whole, let's say a 4-block area in there, it varies. The closer you get to the lake, the tighter you get. Those homes were enlarged, obviously, and the standards were not upheld. When you move out to a Bensbo Street, you're starting to see larger lots still,
Right.
with plenty of property. Barry, you're familiar with it, I'm sure. Dan, you're familiar with it. This area, South Street, I think there is solid setbacks on South Plymouth, excuse me. And he's right that most of the homes do have some parking or off-street area. That one on the east side of South Plymouth is tight. We do have a few cars in there.
Right.
We've actually had to go down with some ordinance violation a couple times on the parking and take care of an issue 2 years ago at least, or a year and a half ago. But apart from that, it just depends. Andrew, if you get close to the lake, it does get tight.
I mean, I know that, I'm just saying, like,
If you're asking if 6 foot 7.5 off a property line would be horrendous, no, I don't think so. But again, I think we've gone up to 5 foot in some areas and maybe even a little closer in some other areas. I know around Nueva Gorda, there's some tight homes in there.
No doubt there's issues with getting through there on the street.
The closer you get to that curve, it's not, the problem is traffic does redirect that way sometimes. And when the traffic does redirect off of South Street or going on South Main Street, it can get a little hairy up in there on that corner. But there again, it's been there. Not going to fix that curve, but it might help keep another car off the street.
Right.
That's pretty.
All right. Nothing else, we'll go to finding of facts.
You should-
Yeah, I'm in open public hearing.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
or
Here's
public
a motion
comment.
for public hearing. Vote already spoke, but yeah. Okay, motion to open public hearing.
so moved.
Second.
First and second. All in favor of approval? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. All right. Anybody in the audience have anything they want to say? Okay.
I've got no dog in this fight, but one way of possibly correcting both situations would to make a stipulation, if you want to approve this variance, is to make a stipulation that they have to go to the town council and request that that section in front of their lot is designated as no parking. And that would solve some of this problem going forward. And it also precludes them parking on the street there, which would make the neighbors happy. So the town either stripes it yellow or puts up a couple of no parking signs, but then it becomes something that's enforceable going forward and helps with that corner issue, even without what he wants to do.
If you take a look, we could continue that line, the rest down to the property line. It is no parking currently around that curve. And it might be a nice suggestion.
I think
And
that
that's something you can stick in as a stipulation to your
We can-
variance that puts
wouldn't
the
be a
onus on him to get
stipulation, it
it.
might be a request. I think it could be submitted as a request for the town council.
Well, if the BZA,
Because it would
if the BZA approves this as a stipulation, then I approach the council with the fact that the BZA has stipulated this, and the council, I'm pretty sure would
Accept a certain
abide to
line.
that. Would abide to that stipulation.
Or says no, and then the variance doesn't go through.
The variance doesn't go through.
Just a suggestion if you wanted to
Right, I
split the
mean,
video.
yeah, I mean, I understand that. I didn't know if we wanted to put a,
Well, the reality of it is, it will probably be extended no parking anyway, based upon code. Because if the driveway comes in, if the driveway is put there, we're gonna have to paint yellow. So it may not even be necessary, Kevin, because with the standard we use would have so many feet back to the north side that we'd have to yellow in for that driveway.
Okay.
Yep, but appreciate it.
if the town finish paint.
I just, I
Thanks,
just
Matt.
know that, sorry, I just know, talking to Matt, the neighbor to the, straight to the east, and I talked to him about, backing in and out, and how's it working out for you? Obviously I'm there every day, nobody's ever been there every day like that, and he says it determines, obviously I'll be curbing it up on the curb, up against my area, where no park, in my parking area, but he still determines on which way he's gonna pull out of his driveway. My truck's right there, he's gotta turn the other way and head south to leave, so.
And it's even worse with the truck.
Yeah, and then trash day is not good around there around trash day, just saying.
Excuse myself.
All right, so we'll continue then with the findings of facts.
We should close the public hearing first.
Oh, yeah. I mean, entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
And a second. So, motion to carry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, now, we're going to finding facts. And just remember, if you disagree with anything that you will.
So are we gonna put any stipulations in this, is what they were talking about, or are we just gonna vote on it the way it is,
We're
and
not
that's
voting
it?
other than we're finding the facts at this point. Okay, so there's not been a motion made to approve or disapprove yet. Okay. And so the motion would, if you want to include that.
Well, now, if we're gonna go on the finding of facts, we have to go by what's requested.
Right.
And is what's requested correct?
What's requested on the application is correct.
Okay.
It says 6 feet 7 inches. So I think as long as we write that in there, because it's not on the actual finding of facts. Right, you have the south side yard setback to a variance request of 6 feet 7 inches.
As far as any stimulation that's added on that would not have anything to do with your finding of facts. So the proposed approval, we want to stimulate some kind of, whatever you want to put on it. All right, general welfare, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Adjacent property, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Practical difficulty. The strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties if the use of the property and situation shall not be self-imposed nor based on a perceived reduction of or restriction on economic gain. Mind you, can't disagree on anything, that you have to vote no on the motion. Finding the facts. Turn them in. Should hold on to them if they're not finished. I will entertain a motion to approve or disapprove, whichever. State whatever stipulations.
I make a motion that we approve case number 2026-B02 with a south side yard setback reduction to 6 feet 7 inches to include any overhang, under the stipulation that the variance approval is based on the fact that the applicant approaches the town council to have that portion of the street marked as no parking.
Get on that?
Not quite. Homeowner approach the town to request
That section of South Plymouth Street through his property line is marked as no parking.
You want that as the homeowner?
Yeah, that's gonna be done by us, but I appreciate the suggestion. I like it.
I like it too.
I think that would.
It should say obtain, not just request.
Well, and the variance is dependent upon that approval from the town council.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, our painting schedule can be a little iffy, so, but we'll get that out. It will be done.
Yeah.
It's just some canvas spray paint.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
You got it? All right, we have a motion on the floor. Repeat that.
No, I got it.
Okay,
You, Andrew?
so I have a first. Right. Have a second on this motion.
I'll second.
I got a first and a second. All in favor of this motion to approve the variance as stated? Sign by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Oh. Okay. Any opposed?
Aye.
So motion carried, 3-1.
3-1. Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Seth, were you able to hear the results?
I was, thank you. I just wanted to check in terms of changing that to no parking. Would that not happen until we actually begin construction on the driveway and garage?
When you are complete with the driveway, we will have to come in and make that no parking.
Okay,
Just
perfect.
based upon code, we will have to do it. The painting schedule is prioritized, but we'll get that established, so we're fine.
Yeah, I only asked because it may be a few months or more until we actually get onto this construction, so.
That's fine. That's fine, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
But if town council does not want to make it,
Yeah, we're good. It's not gonna be, I don't think it's gonna be an issue for the town council because we have set standards based upon corners, setbacks, fire hydrants and driveways in which we have to allow a certain amount of clearance with no parking. And I will confirm that. If not, I'll make it no parking.
okay.
Because I actually have that power to make something no power. I'll write an ordinance, I'll get the town council to approve it, so we're fine.
But I just didn't want to say like we have authority over town council to make this.
No, but it makes a lot of sense. The further back on the south that I can bring that corner, the better off we are for safety reasons, and I'll be happy to do that. And I know the council will be supportive, so thank you.
Yep, thank you very much.
Okay,
Have a good evening.
thank you all. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Have a Okay. Old business, new business,
A little bit of both.
a little bit of both.
Okay, I need, if I may, I've been approached and I have a question. It's an existing case and I need some guidance from the VA. And there's cookies, by the way, when we're done, from Jenny Monroe for everybody.
I thought that was a guidance.
Why wasn't it on the table?
I'm going to put this here. You might be familiar with this. Model is provided to me. It's the Fairchild house on the east side. And one of the issues was, where do we take the elevation? Where do we advise the homeowner that the elevation is going to be taken from? And more importantly, what does that look like in terms of, because there's a specific request here, I think, what is zero for this house in terms of when we measure to the rooftop? What is our 35-foot mark, number one?
Right.
I'm going to read what they provided me, the architect, and that way I'm not misspeaking. This is from Jim Menard, Mr. Fairchild's architect. Dear Mr. Dante, during the past year or so, we have been planning a new residence for Ms. Carla Hernandez and Mr. Bill Fairchild on East Shore Drive. As this lot is unique grading position relative to its neighbor to the north, we would like to set a base grade at the front entrance of 742.2 at the front entrance. The existing lot is currently sloped from the road down to the lake approximately 22.4 feet. I have included some things in the packet. I think that there's some grades and some things for you. And I do have some illustrations here as well that I can pass around. And that shows the grade. I thought I made some copies, but maybe not. Setting the grade at 742, excuse me, I skipped. The neighbor to the north has constructed 3 tiers of retaining wall, beginning at the south property line. The second retaining wall is 746.5, 11 foot above Mr. Fairchild's property. Their driveway is even higher. Setting the grade at 742.2 at the front entrance will still put their gate at approximately 4.5 below. This will serve to lessen the slope of Mr. Fairchild's driveway, plus still be below that of the neighbor to the north. We believe this condition represents a hardship for the proposed home, as it already is subject to extreme runoff conditions from its neighbor to the north. Setting the grade at 742.2 will still maintain a grade lower than the neighbor to the north. We believe this will present a finished home and a site more commensurate with the neighbor's grade. We have provided drawings and grading model for your review. These conditions are set forth. Grade at the road would be 755.1, lake would be at 732.8, mid-grade to the road is 744, neighbor's retaining wall 746.5, proposed grade at front entrance 742.2, 4.5 below the neighbor to the north. Peak of the highest roof would be 776.6, 34.4 above the grade to peak, if the grade is set back at the suggested or requested 742.2. We would be very grateful for your consideration in this matter. My question is this. We established, I think Steve was working on this case. I was not part of it. You guys remember.
Yes.
There was fill to this property. It went to 735, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Was the original.
It was 2 feet of fill.
There was 2 feet of fill, and I think Steve determined a center line in between at the grade at 735, which is considerably lower. The request is for 742.2 at the front of the house where the pitch is coming down. My question is this. Number one, how do we advise this to set a zero for the measurement? There is no existing construction here. Normally it would be guided by, if there was demolition, we would set the zero prior to demolition. Now we have a fill scenario, and how do we, I need advice on how we're going to set the zero on this house, which is laid out within, specifically, this is new construction, so they would do the cross, and that's where it was at. We do have a grade model where we have a terrace of 742 coming down where most of the house would be at 742. My first question is can we use that or not? My second question to the gentleman is, how do we determine the height of the house? Wherever the zero is, but it does count the basement, correct?
Counts.
is the basement below
Now,
zero?
if it-
The-
the basement below
The
the grade.
basement's gonna be below the grade.
So it
The
won't,
grade at the,
you go,
at the street,
Well,
the grade at the road,
well, it depends. If we use 735, that's the bottom, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah, but isn't the road is how far from where actually where the lot is, where the home is being built? I guess that's the question.
This is the model, so you're looking at it from here?
so where would your setback be? From the road? Where,
Oh,
yeah,
where's the entrance, where's the entrance?
You're coming in the entrance this way, and you're coming down in to the property from up above there. They're gonna regrade this road down to lessen some of the fall off of it for erosion reasons. And they've been in coordination with the neighbor. The way that it was proposed to me or discussed, it was coming down to here. When you look at your 742 line, this would be the bottom. This would be 740.5, which the majority of the house really sets on. And this is, for lack of a better term, a natural grade. Now, they may not be natural, but it's what's existing. I should say the existing grade as it exists. 740.5, 739, and you're coming down to 736 at the lake.
So that's the proposed house?
This is the proposed house. My understanding from the homeowner is, and you heard it in the email, 34.5 from 742 would still keep a peak level that's below the neighbor to the north. Everything else would be subgrade below that 742. My question, however, is, originally, if I understand it, you guys were here, wasn't the original zero set at 735?
I think all we know is that they disagreed with the level that Steve determined,
Right.
That's it, okay.
all right? And exactly what that number is,
We've never heard, yeah.
We haven't heard the case.
we never heard that
You
number.
didn't hear the case, okay. And he withdrew because he was going to appeal, I think, the number.
At one time, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, depending on, like, I don't think we dictate the grade at zero, right?
No,
The only thing that we'd have to do is, if the zero goes above the 35 feet, he would have to come to us, but I don't think we have any ability to dictate where the zero grade is.
well, it's in the
What?
ordinance, but he's actually got some two ways, I think it's in the ordinance book as far as applying where the grade actually is.
Go ahead.
You-
Yeah.
So what you're saying is they want to establish a 742 from the road. So that means, to me, if they're going to establish that as the grade down there, is that what you're saying?
That's what they're saying,
So-
742.2 would be the
They're
front
going to
house.
have to fill in how many feet of, how much fill are they going to have to put in to bring it to that grade?
Well, if they were gonna make it even, all the way across with the basement,
Only had it, but.
you would have to have,
7.5.
well, you're 735.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to-
7.5 feet.
You're gonna have to have 7.5 feet, and then does that, so the basement would be basically a walkout basement?
The basement is actually,
Because
you walk out, go up a couple steps on the backside, you'll go up a couple steps, and then be out onto the 737. Because you're 2 foot below the 737 down here on this. Everything down here that I understand in the basement is gonna be below that grade of 742.2. They're asking.
Right,
for
that's
the-
what I'm saying.
That's
So-
right.
So how high is the house then? I mean,
34.5,
with the basement?
well, with,
From zero.
from zero. If you set
Right.
742.2 as zero, it would go up 34 foot. Melson's saying you would not count the basement, anything subgrade below that 742 if we establish that as a zero. Is that correct?
I mean, that's,
If that's what you establish as your zero, yes.
Yeah, how do
But-
you determine whether you
but you
establish from the road down to where they're actually building?
And here's the crux
That's
of
what,
the, here's the crux
that's
of
what
the
we
issue.
we haven't really been in a situation where we've had to address anything like that.
I guess, I'm sorry, I guess my question is where is the 742.2 coming from? That sounds like a magical number, because mid-grade to road is 744. From the length of the road, the mid-level is 740.
It's based upon the existing grade out here, where the front of the house is gonna be is at 742.
Well, I understand that's what they want, but is it one of those ways that you determine grade, like taking the high and the low and finding the median?
Yeah, that's.
There is, from the street side, which that was a vague way of establishing grade because it was trying to use a street that goes down there that everything's gonna be on the same grade.
Well, and a lot of that was determined on homes on the lake that were built on a slope. That was the biggest thing for taking the grade
From the center point.
the center to the road.
Well, the way
Right.
the ordinance reads,
Center
on new
of the house
construction,
is
you
that.
would, there's a formula that's
Okay.
built in that you determine your zero. It's a mathematical formula, and basically you're doing diagonals, essentially it's geometry. And when you do that, using that grade, you're at 735, I believe, in the original. And this is what Steve used to calculate the grade.
Where's the lot? Actually, the whole lot is at the elbow, where you coming off the road.
Yeah, this would be the whole lot.
I mean,
It's hard to see it, but yeah.
I mean, this is included in the lot from here, from the road.
Yeah, there's an easement coming
Well,
down
there's
to the
a,
property.
Okay.
Barry, don't we address that with the plan commission? Remember that easement?
Yeah.
With the Felts that we
Right.
had, that
Right.
where's this big
Yes,
controversy on
That's-
who
that's
owns
it,
it and
yeah.
all, that's where we're talking
Right,
about.
That's
what
it.
I'm trying to establish here is wherever the location of the house, where the foundation is gonna be, and you establish the point zero, like you're saying, the cross point, from the foundation lines. This shouldn't have anything to do with where you establish grade, because it's established grade where the home is actually gonna be.
Okay,
And according to what I've figured out before, you're not allowed to fill up dirt and whatever to establish grade. Before you establish grade. So
well,
you can't actually build it up and then establish grade.
Well, no,
You have to establish
I
grade
think
from
that I think they'd have
existing.
to, if, my understanding is if we establish the 0 point at 742.2 as a 0 point, then they'd have to fill to bring it up to that level. Like, I don't think they're talking about backfilling it before we establish grade.
the existing property was quite low and uneven. And so when they filled, normally if you demo, Barry, then I think you're right, if you demo a property and you fill, that counts towards your height. If you demo a property.
Right, you count stored, yeah. You
I-
can't go above the grade 35 feet, only 35 feet. And if you build up, now you want to go 35 feet, now you just added
Establishing grade.
2 feet to your height.
That-
That guy, the building commissioner.
Well,
I would just say this, if 0 point is established at 742.2 and they're building 34 points, or 34 and a half, it doesn't even come to us, right?
well, that's my
what he's trying
question.
to
I
figure out, is how
need,
we'd
I
establish
need
it.
guidance. What I'm seeing is an uneven natural grade here, right? I have new construction, I have fill, I have a calculation within our ordinance. However, that calculation isn't accounting for this property, this unevenness, right? But it's been level, right? It's been, the fill's in. Where do I determine zero, gentlemen?
Did they do it, or was it done prior?
No, they
They
did it.
Did it.
Did it, so they actually established their own grade.
Can I ask a couple questions?
You may.
What is this structure?
That's a neighbor's home.
Is
That's a neighbor's home.
That's what the Basenfeld's?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Yes.
Okay. Where exactly does the Basenfeld Road and the entrance to Fairchild's property, where is that?
It's a common easement coming down.
Common easement.
No, where is it on here?
It's up there.
Hypothetically, it would be right here,
Okay,
John.
hypothetically, it's here. And then what's the distance to where it first reaches 742?
I didn't.
How many hundred of feet?
That's probably a couple hundred at least,
It's probably 150 anyway.
150.
I think it's more than
Or
that.
more than that. It's not close.
Yeah.
The road's not close to
It's
where
not.
the
I'm gonna say
the lot
it's
is.
more
Right.
than 300 feet.
Oh, you think so?
I'm
Counting the-
pretty familiar,
counting the
I'm pretty
turnaround,
familiar
straight down. Okay.
with with where this is, because I did some work for Mirar on 2 of the 3 houses. I didn't do any work on this one, but the house that's here and the other house, I'm pretty familiar with it, and I would guess the distance would be in excess of 300 feet from
Okay.
where they enter their driveway, which is pretty substantial.
Right.
And I do remember having conversations with Steve that they wanted grade to be established up here at road level where they entered, but the house was gonna be quite a few hundred feet down.
Somebody better tell that, I mean, I get what you're saying.
The only thing.
You gotta realize,
This
Facein
house
built on a
was,
slope.
this house has been here for a long time and was just recently renovated within the last 5 years.
So when they filled in, did they raise the level or did they even?
They had to raise and even, so it was a hole essentially, if I
They
remember right.
brought it up 2 feet.
They brought up 2
They
feet
leveled
of
it.
fill.
They
Yeah.
leveled 2 feet up.
But was part of his property already at that level is my question.
Yeah, that was what.
Well,
I
yeah,
was
it would-
thinking earlier.
He's actually still, no, actually, it wasn't, because 735 is the actual grade along the lake here. So he's actually, even by filling, he's still 2 foot below
They're still-
here.
And that brings, he just brought up, I
Where's the high
was
water?
gonna ask, where's the high water mark?
Where's the high water on this?
I haven't established that, I apologize.
Because we'll, I mean, Dave.
This isn't a case yet, I'm just trying to get it.
You-
Right, well,
You-
yeah.
I'm just trying to get,
You and him, we'll probably have to do that.
I mean, you can go back and forth on this one very
Yeah.
easily. I mean,
But, I
you
mean, when
know,
it comes back to it, you look at the high water mark, and I'm speaking out of the past.
right?
All right, but if the high water mark here, or here, then this house couldn't go here anyway, it would have to even back up, which would change how far you are from this established grade already. And then the other point I'm trying to make is the elevation of this right here will have no aspect as far as where you're gonna establish grade, because it's only gonna be where the house is gonna be.
How far does his property line go on that graded slope there? Like,
Up here?
what's the highest point of the grade where his property line is?
well, he's probably looking at about 742.
It's coming off the road. It's basically
Yeah.
coming, it's all, you know where it is? It's
Yeah.
coming right off that
Coming
curve.
right off
It's
the
I'm just
curved.
saying, like, obviously, he's not building on the road, so the road is not like the high point, but.
Mr. Berger, sir.
Having written it, you should be establishing it the same way, whether it's an existing house or not. So you're still going to determine that point in the center. So if Steve has determined that point at 735, that is existing grade. So what they're doing is coming in and asking you for a 7-foot variance in height in order to make that work.
And
Whether
that-
they bring up the ground or whether they bring it
I mean, if they
down,
wanna bring
you're running from that
foundation
735.
this much off of it, the
And-
grade still stays
The
exactly where it
735
was.
is what's established
So
by the
if they
ordinance.
come off,
And then
like
they're
if it's the
asking you
top
for
of the
variance.
foundation, basement, or whatever you wanna
What-
call it right here,
I guess what I need to
you
do,
have to reduce this.
I need to advise. Absolutely. When Steve left, he put in a possibility of examining this. Now, rather than doing that, I would rather stick consistently to the ordinance and figure it at 735. Now, is my advice to the homeowner, if they wanted to pursue this path, to come before this board and say, I need a 7-foot variance, and then demonstrate that even with that 7-foot variance, most of it's being consumed by a basement, and that the existing height of this structure would still be even with the property next door, and that variance would actually only put them about 5 foot probably above ground, right? Most of the variance would be consumed by the basement. That's my question, because if you think about a 7-foot variance, if we got a 735, they want 742, the 7-foot variance would get them there. And it would be below the ground, and it would still be a 34.5 structure above ground.
They're building up to get, to go down.
I
And that's what, right?
I understand that, I'm saying, though, The variance, yes, the variance would be 7 foot. They would be gaining height, but not through the rooftop, but through including the basement, consuming the basement with the
Well, they
variance.
wouldn't be gaining height or losing height.
They'd be
They'd
gaining
still be only measured from the
They-
established grade.
that 735, so therefore, with the 7-foot variance, it gets them to 742. Instead of setting 0 at 742, gentlemen,
You're talking about sharing.
I'm saying a 7-foot variance from the established 735 of the ordinance, the way that it's written, taking him to 742. Allowance for the basement, because we have a roof line that's still only 34 foot high. And it's in conjunction with the property next door, or in alignment with the
I don't know that
property.
I've ever been on the board where this.
I
Do we
never
have
had
the
this
ability
come
to
up
give a
before either.
variance on grade?
But
What do we have to give a variance
Well,
on
we're
the height of
talking
the
about-
No, that's what I'm,
Seven additional feet?
hold on a minute. That's exactly what I'm suggesting, and I'm trying to get clarification on. The height would have to be through variance. We would allow the established grade using our ordinance at 735, the way that it's calculated. What we're doing is allowing the variance to bring it up to 742, instead of changing.
So the variance request would actually be a building height of 31.5.
it would be a building height of 42.
It would be
42.5.
It would be
Yeah.
42.5, with the stipulation that it's in the basement, not above, not a house above.
Well,
Here,
you wouldn't even need.
I'm not
stipulation.
suggesting it, I'm asking.
I mean, the only thing that they would be asking for is that additional 7 feet on the height. I mean, you got a restriction of 35 feet right now, and they're wanting to build at 42 feet because they want to raise the basement.
Right,
In
keeping
other
in
words, the
mind,
reason why they're raising it is part of the argument to get extra 7 feet on the height. I mean,
they're trying to capture the basement.
Yeah,
They're trying to capture a walkout
they're making
basement.
it so it doesn't count, right, yeah.
but the one,
But you
yeah,
may
I
also,
think,
you've got to remember, the neighbor's probably going to protest it. So
Okay.
you want to, if you want to stick with the ordinance, so you can say that you did that. And if the neighbor protests it, and they got pretty good grounds
He's
to
getting
about the
outside.
fill, then it said in the ordinance that it goes back to a surveyor. If they're going to protest this 735, that's not right, they have to get a surveyor to certify
right.
it. And the surveyor will have to go back and look at the aerials and determine how much fill they put in and do their best guess to find that out. It might be worse for them, because if it was a hole down there, that would be part included in the average, and it might be less than 735.
we also have to have knowledge of where the high water mark is on this property.
My suggestion
that's
would be to get that
definitely,
not
you
your
have to have
problem.
that first, or even the variance even come
No.
before us.
Not your problem.
I know it's not our problem,
It's
but,
planning commission's problem.
but
The high water, if they put their basement if they put the
Oh, the
basement,
basement doesn't have anything.
2 stories of basement down, that's not an issue. The 735 is the issue, is establishing that, and what Kevin's saying is what the ordinance says. You do it on the diagonal of the
I
foundation.
inherited 735, gentlemen. That's what Steve established the 0 at.
Right.
The homeowner has approached me
So
and wants to know a path forward with the current design.
Right.
I needed to advise him. He was asking me a question of 742. I was not comfortable asking or answering that question. I sought your advice. I also sent the email so he could articulate for himself. I'm trying to play communicator, but I also defer because I want to get this right.
Right.
And I want to make sure that the homeowner understands it so we don't cause cost and a waste of time.
Right.
Okay.
But I guess to clarify what I'm trying to get at myself
Yes, sir.
is we're speaking as a Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning Commission, which these two guys will know what we went through in the past and establish that grade. And as far as when it comes before, you'll send it to the BZA, send them to the BZA for variance. And the variance can't be to change the established grade. It'll have to be on the 35-foot maximum roof height.
No, but they can't come before the committee and ask for an appeal. That, I think Steve actually, that was Steve's advice. They were originally on the document. Yes, they were originally on the agenda. They pulled themselves off. They're seeking a way forward, and they are trying to seek a way forward. And just, I needed to be able to provide them with information, not necessarily this isn't the case,
Right.
but I've got to be able to say, this is 0, and I wanted to confirm, because Steve said that was 0, I read the ordinance, I calculated the cross, I understand all that, there was a request to consider this, I didn't know how to advise,
Okay.
and that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, and in your position, as far as what Steve did, you can take his idea without even asking anybody else questions. If you can confirm what he did, and you can hold it to that.
Absolutely,
And
but I was
now-
approached by the homeowner.
But now, as an existing building commissioner, you have a process of whatever advising any other options that would be according to the
Sure.
ordinance of what variances would be required.
And I'd like to, absolutely. And I didn't see reading Steve's findings, I understood how he calculated, I understood how he got it. Before he left, he also suggested that maybe this is something you could think about, and homeowner approached me, I needed just to get some advice. And I think there is some issues maybe that I'm hearing with using 742. And, okay, that's not an option, right? That's what I heard today.
What I'm seeing myself, personal self in my.
And again, not asking for a vote, not asking for anything.
Right.
What I'm asking is 735 stands, that's where I'm at, and that's how I'm gonna advise the homeowner. If I understood you guys correctly and your advice, and understand the ordinance correctly.
Just,
I think we all agree as far
Yeah.
as the standard goes.
well, I just wonder, so there was fill brought in. So how was it determined how much fill they brought in?
I can't answer that question.
Because
I wasn't there
if-
and I wasn't privy to the
Theoretically, if they would have just started filling it in and filling in and filled in 7 feet, then what? We wouldn't be having this argument because that would have been the established grade,
Well, I
correct?
seem to recall Steve determined the grade of 735 after the fill was brought in.
Right.
Yes, and keep in mind,
It's a,
there's a retaining wall back here for a reason. Back to the north of this property. Somebody else has done something similar. You don't put a retaining wall in if you're not
So
filling,
what
so
But that
going
retaining
back
wall
to
was
the
done
old
well
house.
before Eisenfeld's.
right, so what I'm saying, if you would have brought in all this fill and then established your
0,
then
we wouldn't be having this
we wouldn't have this
conversation.
conversation.
And that's,
Yeah,
I
and
guess,
that wasn't done like that,
Right.
it wasn't.
But Steve knew it was been filled,
right? I
right?
mean, theoretically, they would,
I mean, did our past building
Except
commissioner?
there are points in the ordinance that would not allow you to do that without permitting.
Correct.
So you cannot move that much
but
dirt without a permit.
isn't it asked to, better for,
If he moved, but
better ask forgiveness and
point-
permission?
Well, yeah,
but on the backside of it, if somebody caught him, he would be building probably about a 27-foot high house.
correct.
Right.
And that's
Because
probably
we
what
have
was
one
done.
right up there by the root beer stand that is lower because they brought in fill.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to be able to say 735. I want that clarity and understand that there's been some filling done on both sides of properties. What I need to be able to also be able to advise, he's always willing, he can come before this board and ask for a height variance. That's well within his rights, right? To gain the extra
7 feet.
7 foot.
Or,
And I'm not here to make that case, but I think I could advise him that if he wants a path forward with that, that would be the path forward according to my initial.
if
Survey.
advising to the steps that he has to go through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I mean, I can't speak for the board either for what, after it's done, what he comes before the board, what he wants to come with.
Right.
But, I mean, there's been instances where the alignment of the house, neighborhood houses are established by, what, it might be only 37 feet, right?
Yeah.
We had that before, but
But
I'm not so sure the house to the north might be a lot taller than the 35 feet because it's on a slope. I mean,
Right.
you're basically driving into their garage on top and it goes down because it's on the
Yeah.
slope.
Dan, visually it is.
Yes,
So
it's gotta be.
what our
it's gotta be
homeowner, and this doesn't make it right. I want that out. What the homeowner is asking is precedented. That doesn't make it right. I'm saying there's a
Right, it
precedent.
is, well, and that's.
It's
yeah.
their
And you're
opportunity
very
or
on, you know,
privilege
I,
to do
I,
it.
and again, I'm not.
the height thing has pretty much been a stickler for us.
It has been, and I'm not here to argue.
Right.
They may be able to explain the case for that height better than I can, but
Right.
if that's the path forward, that's
Right,
what I need to
That's their
advise.
choice.
That's their choice. But I wanted to make sure I had the data right. No, we are recording, this is still meeting, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because I want to be on record on this, okay? So, that's what I'm walking away with tonight. I've got 735, and you're comfortable with the way that was established.
I
And,
mean, it sounds to me like the only way to change that would be to have a surveyor come do it, and that might be
Well-
detrimental to the home.
Well,
and frankly, that would be unprecedented. I don't have any examples in our case history.
we don't,
I've done a quick research, that doesn't mean that's comprehensive. I can't find a case where we have changed zero because of a grade, of some type of natural circumstances on a terrace.
I think that's also precedent.
I mean, there's times it should have came forward for it.
Maybe.
But,
Believe me, there's been filling, listen,
Yeah.
I've been around here since the 70s too, and you've been around a while, and so have you. We all know there's been filling. I think my grandfather may have been on Hawks Lake doing some. But nonetheless, I gotta stick to the book here, so I appreciate it. They're trying to work within, they approached me in the spirit of trying to work within this board and within our ordinances. And they came in good faith. I want to be able to report and work with the homeowner as well.
right,
Not necessarily, it doesn't mean we always get what we want, but at least find a path forward for them, okay?
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys, I appreciate it. That's all I had tonight, that we can hold back on that.
so you don't have anything else?
No, sir, I do not.
We don't have anything to add.
You don't have anything?
No, sir, no, not tonight, not tonight, nope, we're good.
Okay,
I need to do a little bit of research.
okay,
Thank
next
you.
meeting be 6:30 PM Thursday, April 16th. Hope you all can make it. If nothing else, no other things going, I will.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
Guys, really, seriously, I do. Get off record.